Hey there, welcome to the marketing stream. I'm your host, Vicki O'Neill. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're here, you're joining me live. Thank you so much for being here. I know that I've seen Diana in there. I've seen Andrew with Consult a Blind Guy. So thank you so much for joining live. Anyone else, if you're here, if you're new, if you've been here before, leave me a comment. Let me know that you're here, and then also let me know where you're joining from. I appreciate you being here. If you are new, don't forget to hit subscribe and that bell notification so you know when I go live every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, when I upload new videos every Thursday. So look for that tomorrow. There will be a new one coming tomorrow. I will talk about what that is towards the end of this live session. But today, on the marketing stream with me, your host, Vicki O'Neill, we are going to be talking about ways to generate leads online for free. I don't know if you've seen that movie with Adam Sandler, Rob Schneider, Bedtime Stories. There's a scene in there where he says that for free. So every time I hear that or see that, it reminds me of that scene. It's just funny. So anyway, we are going to be talking about ways to generate leads for free online today. And some of this you may have already seen or been familiar with, and we'll talk about those. So there's a plethora of ways that you can generate leads online, and you can do it all for free. And the important thing is, and one thing that I've mentioned before is all about knowing who your ideal customer is, right? I probably mention it on every single live session and mention it in my videos that I upload on Thursdays. So you've probably heard that before then. If you're new here, you will continue to hear that on lives and in the videos that I upload. So just setting expectations. I want to say hi to a couple more people. I see that Matt is here today. Thank you so much for joining live, Matt. Thank you for being here. Just Samson, hey, thank you so much for being here, you guys. I appreciate it. I know that there was an earlier session today with the Mr. Pat Flynn, so I appreciate you guys being here and joining live. Thank you. I'm starting to get a bit warm in my office. It was quite cold this morning here in the Cincinnati, Ohio area. This morning I actually got down to 50 and I had the windows open, but now that everything's shut, I'm getting a little bit toasty. So, all right, enough of that. I'm going to go ahead and start talking about how to generate leads online. Again, thank you so much for being here live and supporting this live stream. Okay, so I'm going to review 6 different ways. I was going to do 5, and then I figured, hey, just throw in a 6th one because, like I mentioned, there's an infinite number of ways that you can generate leads online. And the reason why I'm talking about this today is because I'm going to be reviewing different tools this week in my video that I upload tomorrow, and then also next week, and generating leads has to do with both of them. So I know in previous live sessions and previous videos that I've uploaded, I've talked about the difference between marketing and prospecting. I've talked about content for the customer journey, which of course you're doing all that to ultimately generate leads. And there's so many different ways to do it, right? So I wanted to focus on that today. And then also, if you guys have ways that you're generating leads currently and it's successful for you, it's free and it's online, share it in the comments. Let anybody who's here in the live chat, let them know what's working for you. And if you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments. This is an opportunity for us to share what's working, even if there's something that you've tried and you're like, that was the worst thing I've ever done. There's usually a good story behind that too, right? So if you've got one of those, share that as well. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start reviewing a few things. Let's see here. Fun will now commence. Hey, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you guys joining. Let's see here. Consult a Blind Guy. You guys saying hi to each other. Thank you so much. You're having some weather as here in Michigan. Yes, exactly, Andrew. We're having similar weather here too. So we've got the cooler air. Thankfully, we're not getting the weather from Hurricane Sally though, right? Good. All right. Glad that you guys are engaging in conversations with each other as well. So that is awesome. It's good to see. Okay, so the first thing that I am going to review, I'm not going to do slides today. I don't want to do that every week. You know, kind of keep you guys on your toes. Content marketing. And this is something, of course, that I've talked about every single week, right? Everything when you're marketing and you're trying to generate leads and you're trying to keep your company afloat with sales, because ultimately you have to generate sales, right, in order to stay alive and keep our business flourishing. It's all about keeping your information out there. And different ways that you can do this is, again, infinite number of ways that you can do this. It could be through your blog. It could be through your different types of content that you create, like an infographic. It could be a how-to video. There's a lot of different ways that you can do that. When you're creating content for marketing purposes and intentionally to generate leads, it's about thinking about the follow-through, right? So it's not just creating a blog post to have a blog post. It's about sharing a blog post that's going to share tips or how-to information, or it could even lead them down a path to giving you their email address that they receive something in return. It could be how to create the best blog post ever, but it needs to be relevant, of course, right? So in generating leads, and the reason why I associate this with the customer journey in that document that I put together, the 6 steps to creating content for the customer journey, is because there's different phases in a prospect or a potential buyer's buying habits, that they're not going to give you their information at the beginning, right? If your brand is completely new to them, they're not going to give you their email address, and they're probably not going to buy from you, right? Because they need to understand who you are. Unless they had a phenomenal recommendation from somebody and they had an absolutely amazing experience, then maybe they will. But if you're like most and you're, expanding your audience, or even you have an existing set of customers that you want to increase number of purchases from them as well, there's always an opportunity to create valuable content that has helpful information. It has tips, and then ultimately there's a call to action. In any type of lead that you generate online, there needs to be some type of call to action that doesn't require them to think about it, right? So if you're wanting to share information in a document like that, 6 steps for creating content in the customer journey, I've got a video for each one of those steps because I wanted to break it down and try to simplify it. And in doing so, I provided a link in the description for each one of those that you could go and you could download it from there. You could either do it during the video or you could do it after the video was over. They're still there. And I think that's already in the description to this video as well. I try to include it in all of them, just because pretty much everything I talk about is related to that. So, it's looking at opportunities to do that. And the reason why I do that is because creating content for marketing it's compelling at different levels, but also just understanding your customer journey and mapping that out and understanding who your ideal customer is. So when you have your content marketing, it's understanding what the follow through is. What are you creating a blog post for? You're doing it to inform, but at what stage are your prospects looking at a blog post? Is it in the beginning, or is this one that you've got as like a secondary or tertiary level that, they're farther along their journey, that they're getting closer to buying? And of course, you can backlink and cross-link and everything within your blog posts, and also with other forms of media like videos on YouTube. So that is one thing too, is just to evaluate or consider your content marketing. And I know that's a very generic and very broad spectrum, but like I said, there's so many different ways that you can do this. And the important thing there is to understand the messaging, the value, and the call to action. What do you want them to do at the end of reading that blog post, watching that video, downloading that document? How are you going to continue to nurture that relationship, even if they haven't given you their email address yet? And that takes me to number 2, which is all about landing pages, website optimization, SEO. So these are things that for most of us, they are on our website, right? So of course, website optimization, SEO are. Landing pages typically are, but if you don't have a website, or if you're using a tool like ConvertKit or any other type of email service provider like that that provides landing page options, I know MailChimp does, other ones do as well. I just know that ConvertKit is super easy to use. I've just recently converted over to that, and super easy to use tool. And you can use it for landing pages and forms on your website. So it's just one that I'm going to start talking about more often because it is so easy to use. But when you have landing pages in here, I'll show you this one real quick. This one's on my website, and this is just through my my website that I created. And this is that one for the customer journey document. This is a landing page. Now, sometimes you'll have landing pages that don't have the menu bar at the top. It really depends on the intent of that document or that landing page, what you're trying to accomplish. But this is one that I want people to have access to other things, mostly because I provide the information. I give a link to each of the videos. I show an example of what you'll receive. Here's a summary of the 6 steps. But then also, after if you decide maybe now is not the time that you want to download that, then I give them links that they can go and find out more information about the customer journey. Here's some other resources. And those are both on my website. So if I didn't have this, they were going to end up going there anyway. They decided not to download this document. So that is just really a choice and something that you need to think about for you and your purposes of your landing page, how you're optimizing your website and the words that you're using to help navigate those pages and that next action that you want them to take. And then also your SEO, not just on your web pages, but also in your blog posts to better understand, how can I capture the words that my target audience is using when they're trying to search for the solutions that I provide. So that is important. And again, this, with it being a landing page, is capturing lead information. And I like to keep it, I'm going to do this a little bit different. I keep it simple in capturing information, at least up front, because the more things that you ask for, the less likely someone's going to be to complete the form. So at this stage, I'm asking for their first and last name and their email address, and that's it. So if this was something that someone may have been farther along in the process, or if I was trying to develop something for a webinar or an online course, then I'm going to want more information than just this. More so not because I'm just, asking them for more information, but it's how can I use this information in follow-up communications? And that's something that you can do in the form itself. But again, don't inundate people with so many requests for information that they get frustrated and they leave. And then you end up losing that opportunity for that lead and to have them ultimately buy from you. They'll probably go to one of your competitors. So just keep that in mind. Best practices that I like to follow are, depending on where that person is or where that piece of content is in their journey, then keep it simple. Now, if it's something that is at the very beginning and you're doing a piece of content like an infographic to show, start to create brand awareness and kind of show them, here's the process of either working with me, or here's how the process works behind the scenes for developing this product or whatever your service is. If you're providing something like that, then it doesn't make sense to ask for any type of information, because they're just now becoming aware of your brand and what you do. But maybe you caught their interest, and you, at the end of that infographic, you want them to have some type of call to action that's going to keep them on your website or wherever you have that. So that's something that maybe you're not capturing a lead at that point, but every piece of content that you create should be looking at the opportunity to either nurture them through that process and help get them to that next step. So when they're ready to take that next step, they know where they need to go. And it may not be at that time, but at least you've created the awareness. They're now interested, and now you have to help them get to know, like, and trust you before they'll actually buy from you. Again, unless that's outside of some phenomenal recommendation that they've had from somebody that they trust and they have recommended them to you. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to go back to just me. Nope, not that one. Just me. Okay, the third one is email. And of course, you think, well, isn't email the result of generating a lead? Yes, it is. But there's also an opportunity to generate additional leads from your existing email list. So, and it doesn't have to necessarily be like, hey, buy my products, because even though someone has already given you their email address, you're still nurturing that relationship depending on at what point they gave you their email address and what they gave it to you for. So in this example where I showed you the 6 steps to creating content for the customer journey, that's one that somebody may have been interested in, but there's information that needs to be digested in that document. So that was probably more or less like someone was saying, okay, I need to better organize my content. I need to better understand the content I have and where that fits into my customers' journeys. So they'll go through that process, and this will help organize it and identify gaps, and also if there's any opportunities to add calls to action and help nurture that process along the way. Now I'm going to go back to comments because I was looking at the banners and see if I'm missing anything. If you guys have questions, if you could, one reason, I think I mentioned this before too, my eyes are getting bad. I'm getting older, my eyes are getting bad. So it's harder to see the screen. And this is the screen that has my camera on it. So it's the smaller one, unfortunately. I think I need to reevaluate this whole thing. Hey, Michael, thanks for joining. Michael Glover, thank you for being here. I see that you're here. D90 Bell, I see that you're here. Thank you. But if you have a question, just put question at the beginning in caps, because that'll make it easier for me to see, and I'll make sure that I don't overlook it. So hopefully I won't, but that's the goal behind that. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to go back here real quick and make sure that I have not missed anything. Yeah, if you're here during the live, or even if you're watching the replay, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell notification so that you're notified when I go live, and also when I upload new videos every Thursday. Let's see here. Just Sampson. He's got Facebook ad, landing page, lead magnet, how they do it, and interview with industry leaders, upsell to course or live event. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, definitely. You've outlined the path. Samson, thank you for doing that. Yeah, great points. Let's see here. Dynamic content marketing works, but could be a long game for sure. Yes, that's why it's important to understand the types of content that you're developing and where they actually go along the customer journey. Yeah, and I know that for sure that, I mean, we probably all do because we're all creating content at some point or another, that when you create it, it's not something that's going to automatically generate a lead at that point, but it's a piece of the bigger picture. And it's something that if you know it's working, and of course you know that by looking at your analytics and determining if you need to create more content like that and continue fostering that relationship through the process, then it ultimately will pay off in the end. But if you look at your analytics and it's not working, then that's something to consider as well in looking at the type of content that you're using or type of content that you're creating. Tailoring your marketing strategy to your business. Yeah, thank you for sharing that link, Andrew. I appreciate it. I think that was a live session I did a couple of weeks ago, if I remember correctly. Awesome. Thanks for being here. Everybody's saying hello. Nice. Also, in the lead mag quiver, ebook, checklists, case studies, how-to vids, industry listings, packing lists, phone scripts, workouts. Oh my gosh, he's given you guys a list of different types of lead magnet pieces of content that you can use and look at what works for your business, your website. And if there's more than just you and your company, so if you're here and you're with a team of other people, then collaborate with them too and see what you already have, and maybe just needs to be placed in a different location, or maybe it just needs to be updated. But take a look at that and see what information you don't have. And again, that's where that whole customer journey and mapping it out comes into play, so that when you understand the different touch points, you can then map the content that you have to each of those touch points and identify the gaps. And these are awesome. So thank you for sharing that, Jess Sampson. You guys are awesome. Love having you guys here. You're helping each other out. You're helping me out. Andrew, marketing and the problem you solve. Yeah, that one actually I think has been my most popular video as of late. So I'm not sure if it's the content or if it was the thumbnail, but I'm still monitoring those statistics, monitoring that to see what's going on. How to find content ideas. Okay, so you're sharing all of them. Thank you so much, Andrew. You are sharing all of them. Yeah, demonstrating that I focus a lot on the different types of content and then just where they fall in the customer journey too. Please put question. Thank you. Michael, can you have too many landing pages? Should our homepage be a landing page? I think that's a great question, Michael. Mike, I think you go by Mike, as I've seen from your emails and also your website. Too many landing pages, it depends on what you mean by too many. I mean, you don't want to have 100 different landing pages on your website, because really then you're diversifying too much probably. But I would look at the landing pages, what the intent is behind them. Are you trying to drive traffic to a particular document that may not fit in anywhere else and it needs a completely separate landing page? Or is it a document that could be a link that they can grab from a blog post or from one of the videos that you're doing on YouTube? So I would look at that and determine. I don't think that there's a maximum number of landing pages, but I would just say to evaluate why you're creating a landing page, because when you do that, you're segregating that piece of content from everything else, especially if you don't have your menu bar showing at the top of your website. And when you don't have that showing, then of course you're taking away the opportunity for them to stay on your website. So I would just look at the intent behind why you want to have a landing page and determine if that makes more sense or if it makes more sense to take that document or whatever it is that you want them to download, the checklist, the MP3s, that whole list of examples that just Samson had shared, and see, if it needs to be separate or if it needs to be incorporated into some other pieces of content that you either already have created, that you can update it, which is great for SEO, or if you need to create something different like a blog post and incorporate it as part of that as well. Should our homepage be a landing page? If you have an existing website, I would say that it should not be a it's always going to be a landing page, right? Because it's your homepage. And it depends on what you have on there. I know a lot of websites don't have the intent for somebody going to your homepage isn't to, download a particular document or have focus of your messaging only on a particular document. But you do, of course, want to have your intent of what your website is and a call to action of some sort to either, buy something or, find out the different services, some type of call to action that's going to take them down the funnel even more. But I know that there's some people who have their website set up as just one entire page. So of course, that is a time when you're going to have, your homepage is going to be a landing page. But if you either don't have access to your website to create a landing page, or it takes too much time because maybe you're working with a web guy or web person who manages your website for you, then if there's a way for you and it makes sense, again, if you're working with a team of people, you really need to get buy-in or, just make sure everybody's on the same page with you doing this, because if it's going to be a place where it should be to start collecting email addresses, then you need to look at where those email address is going to reside. Are they going to reside in the same place that all the other email addresses are and all your other contact information, in your either your CRM or your sales enablement system? Where is that going to play? What I had mentioned before with ConvertKit is that is a tool that you can actually create landing pages. You can create forms, and it helps create and collect your email addresses. You can also sync that up to other platforms as well. So it would just depend on, what platform you're using for your email addresses. But you could create a landing page that's completely separate from your website in that manner, and then still collect email addresses and, always have a call to action to go back to your website as well. So Hopefully that answered your question. If you want to let me know if I did or did not answer your question, I want to make sure that I did. Oh, there we go. Question. Oh, okay. I see it. Sorry about that. I think I mentioned that after you'd already posted your question, Mike. Consult. Yep. The links are all your streams. Thank you so much, Andrew, for sharing those. I appreciate it. The joy of being on the Mod Squad. Sharing links to promote more content. Yes, absolutely. Oh, analytics. I know, Diana, you've been extremely helpful too with my YouTube analytics and just helping me understand them too and what I need to do in regards to SEO and just watching them to know where traffic's coming from too. Mike or Michael, I've been called worse. Well, I'll call you one of those two things, Mike. I won't call you anything worse than that. I promise. Thank you so much. You are sharing. That was helpful. Okay, good. I'm glad that was helpful, Mike. Thanks for the follow on. Okay, good. You guys are talking to each other. Awesome. Appreciate it. Sharing more of the links. You guys are awesome. I love that you're here. So Diana says, I build a different landing page for each opt-in. Okay, awesome. And I think you do that on your website too, Diana, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, through your email. Okay, that answered it. Question from Fun Will Now Commence. At some point, would you be comfortable sharing the conversion rate or other metrics that you get from the different marketing platforms? For example, website versus social media. Yeah, I could definitely do that. I would need to collect that and have it all in one place. So I'm not taking you guys from different points across the different platforms. But yeah, I'd be more than happy to share that with you. Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you for bringing that up and putting question at the beginning so I see it. I appreciate that. I'll go back to this so I can remember to do that. Okay, number 4, social media. This is probably the most obvious and most common place to online that's free to start generating leads, which we probably all do. The important thing here is to pick a platform that's going to be most relevant to your target audience. So you've probably heard this from other people that you don't want to be everywhere because then you're diluting yourself and you're probably investing time and resources where it doesn't need to be. So look at the most effective places for you to be. I've actually I don't need to be on Facebook through my business, but I do have a business page on there. And I've actually been using it more so recently to help boost my YouTube videos, because that's one of the criteria is share on liked on Facebook. So I'll share it on Facebook so people can like it and it'll help the algorithm on YouTube. So, it's not where I spend the majority of my time. That's not where, my target audience is spending time. So, that's one reason why I would do that. So look at, the other forms of content that you're using and identify if you don't need to be on Pinterest, then don't spend time on Pinterest. If you don't need to be on Twitter, don't spend time on Twitter, because you don't want to be talking to just basically, becoming an echo in the universe. You want the people who are your ideal customers to actually be hearing your message and start to get to know you and, start engaging with you. So if you notice that you're not getting any type of engagement on a particular platform and you haven't done that research to identify who your target customers are and where they're spending time, the marketing that you're doing or sharing information on social media is going to help you determine that. So social media can help you as well. And again, through free, obviously, if you buy ads on any of the platforms, that's a way to generate leads. But you're also investing money in something that's very short term and has a finite or an end date. And when you share information on social media organically, just by posting things on whichever platform, then you are getting the information out and helping, with the engagement process so that they can get to know, like, and trust you. And then ultimately submit their information through a lead and provide their information. So, also, part of the lead generation process is if you are working with others in your organization, and if it's just yourself too, it's important to understand what qualifies as a lead and what qualifies as a high quality lead. So working in bigger companies and then also working in startup companies and working with all different types of sized companies, There, a lot of times, just like the lead is generated and they've got their process set up behind the scenes, but there's no collaboration between marketing, sales, customer success team, or all the people involved in that touch point process from awareness to retention, that there's no criteria established as to what a quality lead looks like. So there's different criteria that you can establish. And I know I have either a blog post or a podcast episode on this from a while back. But there's a process that you can go through and identify what that criteria is, and then weight it based on what's most important. So if you're more of a local business and, I'm in Cincinnati and I only want businesses in, 30-mile radius from where I work or, where my company is, then I don't want to, get business from any place else, because maybe I'm delivering my product. And then that will help me understand that if a lead comes in and they say they're from Canada, well, that's not going to be somebody that I want to serve because my business is local based. Now, if I have an online and a local, then obviously you'd want to incorporate that into your messaging as well, and as part of your overall lead criteria qualification process. I had to say that slow. That was going to be a bit much. So that's how, and with everything that I'm reviewing, and obviously everything else beyond this, your lead generation process is going to come down to not just the content, the quality, the messaging, but I had said this earlier too, it's about the call to action. So always look at the call to action that you have at the end, or at whatever point you want them to actually take that next step, and help them take that next step without them having to think about it, because that's ultimately going to create a more seamless process to them providing their information and ultimately buying from you. So the fifth one, I combine these because I know they're different, but they're also similar. So challenges are things like, and you've probably seen this for any type of event or any type of industry does these. But a challenge would be like a 3 or 5 day challenge for, it could be exercise related. It could be, I saw one recently from James Wedmore, I think it was on Instagram. He's doing a 90-day challenge for anyone who wants to stop drinking alcohol. So he was talking about the adverse effects of drinking alcohol and the reasons why you should stop. So he's doing like a 90-day challenge for, stopping the alcohol consumption process, which actually is good timing. Getting towards the end of the year and the holidays is probably when that's going to become a bigger problem. But so it could be something like, 5 days to creating a marketing strategy for 2020. And of course, it would be more, relevant than that. But you would want to make it something fun, and somebody sees that and they actually need to create their marketing strategy for 2020, and you're making it super simple with those 5 steps. And I'm going to have a marketing strategy at the end of these 5 days. This is awesome. And then you would have that information on, your social media. You would drive that call to action to a landing page where they could sign up for this particular challenge. And on that page, you would talk about, what they can expect on each of those 5 days. So somebody's not just going to sign up for a challenge just because it's a challenge. That's caught their interest. And they're saying, hey, this is something I want to take action on. Maybe this is the boost I need. But you need to provide that information as to what they can expect. Are you going to be sending them a daily email address with, a short video that talks about that step they need to take that day? This kind of goes into what I was talking about. I put a poll on LinkedIn. I know Diana and Mike are on here. They've seen it. They talked about that for the course, but it's the same thing with a challenge, is that you want to make it short and simple, and you want to provide things that are going to actually prompt short wins. Like, people don't want to take a 5-day challenge just to complete a marketing strategy. They want to do it in short, actionable steps. They want it quick. They want it simple. They want to move on, right? So looking at that, challenges can help with something like that. I've always been of the thought, and this is more my preference, is that keeping it to like a 3 to 5 day challenge is probably going to be best. If you want to do a 7-day challenge, you just have to think through that and say, are they going to be willing to participate on the weekends? If it makes sense, if you're doing a exercise challenge or, you're doing push-up challenge, in 7 days, you'll do 100 push-ups because you're working up to it. Just consider that and look at the feasibility of how likely they're going to be to complete it. I'm just going to go through the comments real quick. I saw that there were some comments up here. Build a different landing page. Okay, so thank you so much. You are doing awesome, Andrew. You're sharing all the good content. Hey, Monique, thanks for joining us live. I'm so glad that you made it. And then Alessandro, thank you so much for being here. Oh, he's from Italy. Nice. Thank you so much for joining from across the pond. I am hosting this from Cincinnati, Ohio in the United States. So thank you so much for joining. So going back to the webinars and challenges, we've all attended webinars. So looking at the webinar topic and your target audience, of course, and understanding and also letting them know, here's what you can expect from this webinar, what you're going to be reviewing, what the call to action is. And even I've seen people start doing this, and I love that they do. They're like, this webinar is for you if, and they outline all the things that they're going to get from the webinar, or the pain points that they want to solve from that webinar. This is not for you if you aren't expecting some type of pitch at the end of this webinar. So we know that we attend webinars, and pretty much on all of them, at the end of a webinar, it's leading up to some type of purchase, some type of bonus or incentive to work with that person or buy their program. So by having someone share that information with you up front, you don't go into that webinar assuming that, they're not going to pitch something to you. That's usually what people are giving away the free information for on a webinar, and then the transition into their product or service. So webinars are a great way to generate leads. And it's, through the social media, you can, start talking about it. Usually want to start talking about it 1 to 2 weeks before you actually launch a webinar, if you can, because that way you're going to generate the most leads for those people who are attending. And of course, it's going to depend on how new you are, where you're sharing it, how engaged your audience is, the value that you're providing in that webinar. And you'll want to promote that throughout that process too. So if you're doing it for 2 weeks, you're promoting it for 2 weeks. Then throughout that 2 weeks, you're going to talk about different aspects of what they're going to get from that webinar. So not just about the webinar itself. Here's what you're going to get. Here's the action you're going to take. And here's, the small wins that you're going to receive as a result of attending this webinar. So webinars and challenges are great ways to generate leads. And again, all of that can be done online for free. Okay, and the sixth one, I was only going to do 5, but I wanted to do the sixth one too for reviewing different platforms. And the reason being is because I'd mentioned earlier that at the end of this video, I was going to talk about the video that's going to be uploaded tomorrow, and that is on ConvertKit. So I'd mentioned that earlier, and I've just heard those of you who attend Pat Flynn's Daily Live, he talks about that. He uses it, and I checked it out, and I absolutely love it. I've been using MailChimp and had some challenges with it, and I thought, hey, I'm going to give this a shot. So I looked into it. I really liked it. It's super easy to use. And when you talk about different things like that too, it's a good way to help generate leads if you're actually doing a demo video. Or I know Diana does a lot of comparison videos with different LMS systems and different tools. And it's a great way to not only talk about a product, but it's not going to be just about ConvertKit. It's going to be about the benefits of it. So the landing pages, how to generate emails, the different behind the scenes. And then ConvertKit's just the tool that you would use to actually, bring it all together. So that was something that I wanted to bring up because you can do it that way too. And it doesn't have to just be something like that. If you're a photographer, like Monique's a photographer, and she wanted to do a product review between Canon and a Nikon, that might be something that her audience is wanting to see. And that might be something that captures the attention of somebody who wants to, watch her online videos on how she does her photo shoots, or, it could be any number of product review comparisons. People like to see, what the pros and cons are between two different things. Even if you're doing like running shoes, what's the difference between Nike and Adidas? Or, just pick two different things. And people who like either one of them are going to watch that video or view that, audio clip or the blog post that you've done that has the pros and cons and descriptions and why. And, maybe you're training for a half marathon like I was last year. And I thought Nike were the shoes that I wanted to run in, but it ended up New Balance were the ones that were actually better for my feet for that type of training. Who knew? So I'd gone to a store that specialized in customizing shoes. And one of my good friends had mentioned this because she's a half marathon runner. So I said, oh, okay, I'll give it a shot. Here, I thought I was wearing the right shoes and I just wasn't. I just like Nike products. So that's why I was wearing those shoes. But anyway, that is a great way to, so just look at your business and look at if there are different things that you can do to provide, reviews of different platforms or reviews of different products, even services. You could do a review between different services that you provide. And, people can say, okay, Vicki's doing a review between doing video and podcast. Oh, I didn't know she was even doing videos. Okay, I need to watch those videos. Now I've gotten the attention of somebody else who wasn't aware, and that's their preference. They learn and they like to watch YouTube videos. So now that they're aware of that, I've now captured their attention, and now they could become a lead in that process. Again, it's probably going to be, Diana had mentioned this earlier, it's going to be, a longer process. But at least you've captured the attention and you've created that awareness. Now they can start watching the videos and learning more, and having Andrew share all of these wonderful links with everybody. Thank you so much, Andrew. You are helping so tremendously. I love it. Thank you. Mike says most are sales pitches. Yeah, you are absolutely correct. Most of them are. You guys are talking. I'm assuming that's Italian. I'm going to guess it's Italian. I wish I knew Italian. That'd be a great language to know. Thank you so much. Okay, let's hear. Diana, all webinars are sales pitches. Good webinar hosts make sure to provide good value. Yes, absolutely. They really do. I can't understand 100% of English, but your American pronounce is something amazing for me. Awesome. I'm glad that I'm able to help out with that. I'd had someone else mention that as well, that was from a different country. I just switched. Oh, awesome, Monique. You just switched to ConvertKit too? Oh, that's so awesome. I'll have to exchange messages with you on that. Software tutorials. Yeah, Diana, you're awesome at that. So if you guys are ever looking at software pros and cons, check out Diana's channel first, because she's really good at walking through not just the system, but she's very responsive to the questions too. So I had some questions on the one that she did this morning on, or that she uploaded today on, it was Teachable. Yeah, which is another program that we're all familiar with. I am late to your broadcast today. Oh, filming a camera review. How appropriate then, right, Monique? Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Videos are cool. Yeah, they are. They really are popular. All right. That was all that I had for you guys today. How to improve your marketing effectiveness. Thank you again, Andrew. Oh my gosh, you've been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. So let me know if you're here live, let me know if that was helpful and just kind of talking through that. Like I mentioned at the beginning, there's like, an unlimited number of ways that you can generate leads online for free. We're so fortunate that we've got so many different platforms and so many different avenues and so many different ways to actually communicate with people and connect with people, whether it's, personally or professionally, and share information with them that doesn't require any type of monetary investment. So I know I'm very grateful for that, and especially anybody starting out in their business. Even if you're branching off into a new business and you have a limited budget, having available online free resources really helps out until you can really ramp up your budget and your marketing spend to actually make some of those things better and more plentiful for you as well. So hopefully this has been helpful. It sounds like it has been. Thanks, Monique. No problem, sister. Happy to help. I know you're awesome. Thank you so much. Hopefully we haven't had any, trolls come in. I haven't seen any. So hopefully that's been an easy job for you, Andrew, and Diana. I'm very appreciative of you guys being behind the scenes and helping out with that as well, and keeping that to a minimum or out altogether. So thank you so much for doing that. If there was anything that you wanted to know coming into this live stream and I did not answer it, if you could let me know either right now in the live chat or I think we're all connected in one way or another, whether it's through other social media platforms here. You can leave a comment as well through email or any of the social media platforms. I've got those on my website. Those are, you can actually go directly with all of my contact information. It is right here. You go to vickyoneil.com/card. It's like an online business card. So it has my email, it has my phone number, obviously website, and then it has all the social channels as well. So if there's a particular platform that you want to connect on, that's the best way to find the list. And then let's connect if we're not already. All right. All right. Let me check one more time real quick. So I want to make sure I don't leave anybody hanging. Okay. Let's see here. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks for being here, Mike. Awesome. No trolls. Great. You guys are awesome. Andrew, thank you so much. Diana. Yeah, they were, weren't they? They were on Diana's this morning. They were having fun. Not that we want that. We don't want that kind of fun. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you more than you know. The live is just, I love that you guys are chatting and getting to know each other too. So I hope that's been helpful for you as well. And for you guys sharing information and helping out with different ways to generate leads online for free. All right. All right. Until next time, make today great. Talk to you soon. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Thank you.